So good morning. Welcome back to Tuesday Talks with Teena. I am your host, Teena. We're going into week 9 for tips for consistent accountability. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, kind of adding in some more tips and tricks for you to keep that consistency going. Because like I said, we're going into a whole new month. And we're going to keep taking inventory of everything that we're doing. We're going to keep developing those consistent habits and mastering certain things and then adding on new things as the weeks come. So hope that you all are doing well with the goals that you all set. I am your host, as I stated, Teena. I'm a business owner, certified trainer, and coach, and I'm currently serving in the Air National Guard, and I'm an advocate for women finding balance. Get into our housekeeping, just a few disclaimers. Like I said, I am certified, but I'm not a medical professional. So before you start or do anything, I definitely advise that you consult with your primary care physician prior to starting any new fitness routine. And then our funding disclaimer. Funding for this initiative is provided in part by Mission Ambition LLC and Teena Cathay Lifestyle LLC. We also have military women participating in the series thanks to the Michigan Department of Human and Health Services through the Community Mental Health Association of Michigan. They're providing additional funding for the initiative through a federal community mental health block grant and a substance abuse prevention and treatment block grant supporting women better and strong. A few guidelines. Please be respectful to others and yourself during our talks. Also, no selling or soliciting, and then no judging anyone else, yourself included. So what did we talk about last week? Last week, we talked about how to use accountability apps. We talked about the different ways to track your fitness wins and goals, nutrition, find meal plans and things like that. We also talked about how to stick to your plan and then how to put yourself first in regards to those plans, because as we know, other people can kind of tack on to our schedule and we don't want that happening. So let's get into lesson 1 of this one today. We're going to talk about healthy behaviors. Healthy behaviors is what's going to keep you consistent. We all have behaviors. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. Some of them will help us to stay consistent and lead to the weight loss goal or to the muscle gain goal or whatever goal it is. And then there's habits that we probably have that we want to stop doing that are going to hinder us doing those things. So one of those things is take measurements. And this is, you can take measurements however you feel is comfortable for you or easier or more accessible. So for some of us, a lot of us might have like that scale in hand sitting in our bathroom. So hop on a scale, not every day, probably once or maybe twice a week, once or maybe every 2 weeks. So the best time to hop on the scale would be first thing in the morning after you've used the bathroom, before you've ingested anything, so no water. Use the bathroom, hop on the scale, and I would choose the same time of day to do that each week. So it is going to have, you are going to have some fluctuations with that, but rule of thumb is just try to make sure you excrete first and then try to do it at the same time. So once a week or bi-weekly. Meal planning and meal prepping. This is one that can seem like a chore to a lot of people, and I get it because it can be a lot. A few things that I like to do, I choose my meals on Thursday, so it's like a whole process down the line. Thursday, I'm choosing the meals that I want, and then from there, I'm going through my kitchen, finding what I already have, and if there's something I don't have, I will add that to that grocery list. I'm not necessarily creating everything from scratch every time because I definitely want to use up what I have in the fridge. If I have something in a freezer, or maybe there's something tucked deep away in that cabinet that's about to expire, so I'll find a way to use that as well. So do that Thursday. Friday, you can shop for your groceries, or you can schedule a pickup. So order. I do a little bit of both, because if you use that order from whatever grocery store you use, sometimes they do forget stuff or don't have it, and you might have to go to the store and get it yourself. It's cold, but hey, we got to do what we got to do. After that, you pick a day to chop, clean, and prep. So if you're getting fresh fruits and veggies, you can do this the same day that you grocery shop. It's all up to you, depending on your schedule. So clean your fruits and veggies, chop everything up, so that way you don't have a bunch of whole fruits and veggies sitting around, because then that's how they go bad faster. We want to make the meal prep more accessible. We want to make it easier for us to grab whatever we need to grab to throw it in a meal. Season that meat prior to, or whatever you need to season. And then for me, Saturday or Sunday is the day I'm going to batch cook. So I'm going to cook everything that I bought, cook my meats, cook my grains. I love rice. I'm not a huge pasta fan, so I'll cook a bunch of rice. And then I'll portion everything out, and I'm good for the next week. So repeat that same process over and over again. That piggybacks into discipline. So in order for us to adopt these healthy behaviors, we're going to have to operate more off of discipline and motivation. We talk every week about not being motivated to go do something, and it happens. Yesterday, I can tell you, I was not motivated to go work out, but I drove past the gym, and instead of me just driving past, I was like, let me just pull in this parking lot and go get it done. So I definitely was not operating off of motivation. I was just being disciplined, and it helps. Sleep. Get enough sleep. I know Netflix can have their series, and they have like 10 series of your favorite show. Make sure you're not sitting up all night binge watching. Stop it at some point, get some sleep, because if you're not getting enough sleep, that can hinder your health in general, weight loss or not, muscle gain or not. Sleep is essential. It helps us rebuild and recover. So you want to get your sleep. Limit those unhealthy foods. Drink lots of water. I know it's cold. I know it's wintertime. Still have your coffees and your teas, but consume some nice, good old H2O. If you need to, add some drops of lemon juice in there, some lime juice. You can even add some cucumbers in there. It just kind of adds a little flavor to your water. And then if you need to offset drinking the water and you get a little bored, it's okay to get those fizzy waters, like sparkling waters, just to spice it up a little bit, but not all the time, just to supplement. Sitting. I know we're sitting right now. Some of you probably at home or at work, but when you can, get up and walk, get some movement in there. Sitting is not good for us. It compresses a lot of our muscles, our spine, our hips. It creates a lot of aches and pains. So when you can, get up, get moving, even if it's just to walk through the house a little bit, go up and down some stairs. But try not to be sedentary for hours on end. A study came out that stated that it's recommended that every 45 minutes, you should get up and do some kind of movement for at least 5. So essentially, you're not sitting for a whole hour. And screen time. Let's work on reducing our screen time, scrolling through our TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, things like that. And if you are going to do that, maybe do that while you're walking. Well, not outside though, and watch where you're walking. So then that way you're not tripping over anything. So those are some healthy behaviors that people tend to forget. Those are small little things that can help us reach our goal. So just think about what you're doing in your daily activity, in your daily routine, because you could be doing everything else right, but these small little tweaks you might need to make to take your health and fitness to the next level. All right. So with that being said, let's get into this journal time, ladies. The question is, has it been difficult to hold yourself accountable lately? So we've been doing this for a few weeks now. Has it been difficult for you? Why or why not? We're going to take those 2 minutes and get into our journaling. One more minute. All right. Has it been difficult for you to hold yourself accountable lately? So again, we've been doing this for about 9 weeks now. Some of you have made some really good strides, but some days might not be the best days, which is okay. So who would like to share?
I've been holding myself accountable, but on the days I don't feel like doing all the exercises, I make sure I go somewhere and I walk. Like I walk the whole thing of Myers or Walmart and stuff. And I'm glad you put on there about screen time and sitting because I don't know about everybody else, but if I sit too long, I get stiff. So I have no choice but to get up and move because I get real stiff.
I put down, no, I'm not having, a difficult time because of, like you guys, I just said I'm grateful for my accountability partners. And, I have to answer to myself first when then I said, well, really, God first. And then when I do that, my mind is conscious free to pursue the rest of my day. It's the evenings that probably challenge me the most when I'm tired. But for the most part, I'm feeling pretty good.
So then you mentioned you kind of lose that accountability a little bit when you're tired at night. So what do you do when that happens?
Well, if I haven't exercised, I get my butt outside. But like last night, it was too cold, to be out for any length of time. So I'll try to find a YouTube, yoga or something like that. But if it's at night, I usually I get on my ball and my thoracic roller in front of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the 45-minute thing that you mentioned about with the TV. I need to do that because I do binge, and since I'm retired, I can binge really late. I've done 2-3 a.m.s in the past week.
Yeah, I'm going to share. I'm going to share. I'm not going to downsize myself, or degrade myself. But I have difficulty basically because I think I can make myself accountable, but yet find it okay at 2 in the afternoon. It's like, okay, Laura, you're supposed to do this stuff and you haven't done it yet. And so that kind of things I put off, and that's me and my procrastination. And that needs to be something that's always been a problem for me. And some days are not like that, other days are. So there's also I'm always, okay, I make lists the day before what I'm gonna do. And I just put too many things on their friggin' list because the list doesn't necessarily go down. And I have a lot of different things going on that I like to be involved in or I'm supposed to be involved in. And I'm not following through on those things, which is frustrating to me. And so it gets to be I do it or put it aside and then I don't do it. So, but I am making more progress as far as finding places to go or things to do and do with for the activity wise. I may not just be doing like you have these exercises that we're doing. I haven't done any one of those on a consistent basis, but I have been out walking or I did do an extra pickleball or I went to the gym yesterday, did pickleball. It's with extra people there. So, cause I knew I have it tomorrow or today. And it's like, you're going to be stiff if you don't get out there. And so that I'm grateful I have the pickleball once a week. It pushes me to do that. But I just need to narrow things down and just and follow through. And it's always been my problem. And that's what I need to do. And I'm glad I have this once a week that I can go to. It's okay, Laura, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. You got to do this. And so that's where my issues are. And but I'm doing better with the food and not taking all this stuff in. So I mean, some things are good and some things aren't. So that's where I'm at.
Good for you, Laura. You hit a lot of good points because like you said, it's not going to be the same every day. And you are making small little changes and you are going at a pace that works for you, which is amazing. So I know that I know about the whole scheduling and trying to put everything in a day and then you not end up doing anything because you get overwhelmed. I would suggest, because I definitely was that person, writing it down, but also categorizing it. So maybe put the most important things and only pick 2 things to do that day. Like these 2 things are the most important things I have to do today, and everything else can wait. So then that way you're not looking at your whole list and then psyching yourself out like, oh my gosh, this is a lot to do, and then not doing anything. Maybe narrow it down, have your list, keep writing that stuff down, but have that top 2 and then check those 2 things off. So that way you get that instant gratification like we talked about a few weeks ago, and you're not looking at this whole huge list of things. You got to lower it a little bit and take it piece by piece, day by day.
And I do have the list and I do kind of categorize, these are the ones that now, and this I got to keep on going because it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I had 4 different things I had to do, and it's like, oh, they're all done. And they're just little things, but they're done. And it's like, I felt good. It didn't include exercise, but that's okay. There's other things that then they were done and you felt like I did accomplish something and I can move on to what's on the rest of the list. One thing that might be there that I want to do. So I appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. So yeah, you're on the right track. Keep doing that. Make a smaller list out of that big list and then get that feel good out of that.
Right.
We are going to talk about consistency in poor weather. When we got on, we were all talking about how cold it is today, even though it looks really pretty outside. It's very deceiving. It is very cold. We all are in Michigan. So those who are not in other areas of the world, it's still kind of cold depending on where they are, because I have friends who are down south in Texas. Even for them, compared to where they usually are around this time of year, it's cold for them as well. But with that being said, we still have to get our movement in. It's still essential. Doesn't matter what season it is. So here are a couple of things that you can do. Laura talked about about this. She's doing it now. Going indoor pickleball, doing something, meeting up with other people. Because that is a good motivator as well. If other people are looking for you to be there to do an activity with them, take it indoor. There's a group called, well, it's an app, but it's also a website called Meetup. So it's just MEETUP. And that has all types of groups for all types of different activities, sports, you name it. Go on there and just search different groups. They categorize it by age, by location. It's a good way to have something to do indoors as well. And then you can also look at your local community center or YMCA. I drove, like when I drive past, there's like this billboard on one of our streets here, and I didn't even know about the community center. And I'm seeing all these different activities that they flash every so often while I'm sitting at a light. And I'm thinking to myself, these are a lot of good activities. They have stuff for the kids, they have Zumba, they have senior activities, they have all these other subgroups that I had no idea even existed. But it made me think, oh my goodness, I can go to this community center one day and try out some of these activities. So that's something to think about as well. Or another thing you could do is just bundle up and embrace it. We are in Michigan. If you're in a cold weather state, it is the season of winter. There's nothing we can do about that, but work with it and work through it and work around it. So you don't have to spend so much time out, but maybe 5 to 10 minutes, bundle up, put that hat, scarves, gloves on, long johns, all of it. Walk to your end of your driveway, back or around the corner and back. And that fresh air still will be good for you. You're still going to get that vitamin D because it's definitely needed in this season. Work out at home. Susan, you mentioned this. Put on something from YouTube, do some of the exercises that we do here every week. Also, I think Netflix, and maybe there's another channel that does fitness activities too. So if you're watching TV, maybe put something like that on, pause your show for a second and put on a quick workout and get some movement in. And then find other outdoor festivals and activities. Your Parks and Recreation, that's a good website to go on to as well, because a lot of different parks and rec centers have outdoor activities that are free. You can do by yourself, or you can involve the family, your grandkids. So there are things out there that we can still do to get some kind of movement in. And then when I say movement, I'm not always saying go get a good sweaty workout in. The point is for you to just stay moving, stay mobile, and not be so sedentary. Because if you're not sedentary, you're already ahead of the game. So we want to stay ahead and increase that longevity by keeping moving, stay moving, I should say. Be honest, does weather play a role in your fitness success? Why or why not? We're going to take another 2 minutes to document this. Be honest with yourself. If weather does play a role and you're like, I'm not motivated at all, it's okay. So let's start that 2 minutes now. One more minute. Taylor, does weather play a role in your fitness success? Why or why not? Who would like to share? Christina?
I would like to say no, it does not, because I work out at home. So, and I try to work out first thing in the morning, because any other time of the day, I know I'm not going to work out.
Good deal. Good deal. I'm the same way. Got to get that morning workout in before my brain knows what I'm doing.
Yes.
I said the weather absolutely does. When the sun is shining, it's easier to get out of bed. Planning activities with others really helps. And then finding support when I'm not motivated encourages me, to get going. So.
All right. So last, but certainly not least, we're talking about injuries, working past an injury. Just a quick quote that I found and read through it from an article I was reading. There is really good research that suggests that your mindset, your attitude, your self-talk during your recovery will impact the duration and longevity of recovery. And I find that to be absolutely true, because as we talk about every week, this lifestyle is more mental than it is physical. The way that we talk to each other and we talk to and about ourselves does have an impact on how we feel. So if you are trying to recover from an injury or you have chronic pain, down talking yourself. And I think, Laura, as soon as you got on, you stopped yourself from doing that. And I applaud you for that, because you were like, I'm not going to down talk myself. And you just stated what you need to state. So that is a great example of just in general, like not talking down on yourself. So your recovery needs you to be whole, mind, body, spirit. So that's what we're going to talk about for this one. Working through an injury, it happens. Unfortunately, sometimes some injuries do take longer than others to recover. It is a huge mental process, but there are ways to work around it. And again, depending on what your doctor or your physical therapist is saying, you can work the non-injured limbs. So if you're having issue with ankles or knees, you can probably sit in a chair and lift weights, do things like that. They don't have to be anything heavy or anything grueling. That's another way to get some kind of movement in. Or if it's the opposite, if the upper body is injured, use your limbs, your legs, work on the lower body exercises, squats, walking, things like that within reason. So then that way you're not re-injuring anything. Always practice correct form. Form is going to be the thing that's going to help prevent an injury and help you stop from re-injuring something. And I can attest to this because I've had a broken ankle. I've had probably like 4 sprained ankles, 2 on each ankle, piriformis syndrome, issues with hips. I had forget what they called it with my scap. That's the most recent one. So it's just like everything on each side has at some point in my life been injured. And it is very, very discouraging, because when you have a goal and you're trying to work towards it and you have an injury, it is very disheartening to have to slow down whatever you've been doing in your fitness progress. It is very challenging, but give yourself time, give yourself grace, and then eventually you'll move past that and come out better on the other side. We also want to practice recovery. So what I mean by that, after your workouts, injured or not, practice stretching. Stretch and warm up prior to whatever activity that you're doing, especially if you're going to do a lot of running or jolting or things like that. So then that way you don't pull a muscle. You don't want to ever do anything when you're cold, and I'm not necessarily like frigid cold, but you want to warm your muscles up so then they're not cold, because that's how injury can come about faster that way. Allow yourself time to recover, again, as I stated before. Now, I know that doctors can tell you, oh, it's going to take this long to recover. They'll put a number in your head and give you a date and a timestamp, but your body does what your body does, and you could recover faster than that. You never know. So just stay the course, be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, allow your time, that recovery time, your body, that recovery time. So that way you are not going to re-injure anything at all or sustain a new injury as well. So let's go into our last and final journal prompt. Do you have injuries that can hinder your fitness success? And this is a two-part question. That was the first part. And the second part is, how can you work around it? If you don't know the answer to that right now, definitely write that down, put a note, and then we can help each other figure it out. But those are your two questions. Let's take a few minutes and jot that down. Okay, about 30 more seconds. All right. Do you have injuries that can hinder your fitness success, and how can you work around it? Who would like to share?
I'll go. I don't have an injury, but my right knee gives me pain. So I try to find exercises where I'm not using my knee as much. But I don't have an injury.
One PT said, motion is lotion. And I kind of remember that, but I just put, yeah, I have my right hip has been bothering me, and I've had bursitis when I used to run 5 days a week in the military. And I'm actually going today to access my medical records from when I was in the military, because that was when it first started. But I alternate exercises when things flare up and stretch, do yoga and weights instead. And I also get evaluated periodically by a physical therapist.
I don't have any current issues, and I've done recoveries from surgeries. The knees have been replaced and the hips have been replaced. So, those are things that I had to do processing for that. But so I did the exercises all the time because I had a goal to get there. And so then I stopped, and that was not a good thing. I always do that. It's like, okay, you love it, enjoy it, and then you stop. But as far as what I do have a long-standing neck issue that's car accident, and it's like it's still there as far as issues with tension and muscles and stuff like that. I also, I've got some arthritis in there, but I ain't getting that fixed yet. So I find it most often when it's most notable when I'm tired or overwork the body. But my body mechanics or the body posture makes a difference. And so these are things I work into it. If it gets to be too much, then I either am doing exercises specifically for the neck to relieve it. I find balance a problem sometimes, so that I have to slow down and really focus on being balanced. And then if it's so bad, then I just don't exercise after a bit, and I have to get to the point where I'm putting warmth on there and or having to take some Tylenol or Motrin stuff. But it's an issue that's been there for too long that I've learned how to adjust to it. And these are the methods that I do. So
Thanks, Laura. I love, 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 love how all of you have whatever kind of physical challenges or issues going on with your body, and you all have individual ways on how to work around it instead of just letting it just hinder you altogether. So you should definitely applaud yourselves for that, because that is, a lot of people do not do that. They're like the first inkling of any kind of pain with their injury, they're just like, I cannot do anything. I'm stopping, even though if the doctor is like, hey, you can do this, this is what I suggest you do. But great job for all of you for still having your things, but also knowing how to work around it and work through it to still get the movement in. So that's a huge thing. All right, great job. Per usual, ladies, let's go into our word of the week. Word of the week this week is success. And you all have been successful since every week. Everyone's come with new things that they've done or challenged themselves with. So you guys are the definition of this, the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. You had a goal, you strive for it. You said, I want to do this amount of movement every week, and you all have been doing it. I haven't heard anyone say, I just didn't do anything this week. The day that you stated you want to do it, you probably didn't do it that day, but then you came the following day and made it happen. So you guys are definitely on the right track. Keep it going, keep moving. And then also challenge of the week. So end of the month, we stack on everything that we did each week. So now you have the 10 burpees in addition to the 10 squat jumps, the mountain climbers, and the high knees. The modifications that you have for those that I gave you for those who needed them, definitely feel free and empowered to continue to do those modifications. All right. And then next week, we're going into February. Oh my goodness. Can you believe it? A new month already. So next week's topic, we're going to talk about how to combat guilty eating. As always, if you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out, scan the QR code, invite another sister friend, so then that way she can partake on this awesome lifestyle journey with you as well. And again, thank you to our sponsors, Women Better and Strong, and then Others Over Self. Thank you all. I appreciate you guys for joining me every week, and you guys have a great rest of your day, okay?